Welcome, lady friends. What's up? It's your girl here, Olivia, international life and business coach. If you're a creative and ambitious woman who wants to have breakthroughs not only in your business, your bank account, but also your brain, then this is the podcast for you, girlfriend. Get ready to rock your online business, master your social media presence, and monetize your passion from your mobile. Woo! It's time to elegantly strap on those lady balls and jump in. Are you ready to start slaying your side hustle? If so, then join me. Let's get started. Hello everyone, get ready for a jam-packed episode today. This is a topic I've wanted to talk about for a while actually, and I really think it's something that's going to benefit all of you, hopefully. No, I'm sure it will, because these are the things. So firstly, it's going to be looking at what is self-care in business, what does it look like, how to implement more of it, and why it's so important. And I think it's the perfect timing because it's the start of the year, it's February. By the way, happy Valentine's Day. And so I thought this is the perfect topic to discuss, right? Because it's the perfect timing. It's the start of the year. Women are starting to think about starting their own businesses, or they're jumping back into their businesses now that everyone's returned from holidays and New Year's and Christmas, all of that settled down. It's like getting back into routine and all that sort of jazz. So it's really important to have the right mindset, and that's what today is going to be a bit about. So what I'm going to be sharing with you guys is my journey of being full-time and running a side hustle and how I looked after myself doing that, but also the mistakes I made the first time around when I had a product-based business. As you guys know, this one is a service-based one. So these are principles that I wish I had known about. These are things that I wish that I had actually implemented myself earlier. And if I had, my results would have been very different. So let's dive in. So firstly, yes, happy Valentine's Day, my loves. I wanted to do an episode that was all about self-love, self-care, and I thought, why not just do it about this in business? I think it's going to be super useful. So regardless of your relationship status, whether you're single, de facto, married, divorced, widowed, gay, whatever, swinging the bat both ways, it doesn't really matter because self-love is such an important thing that we're not taught about in schools. It's something that people aren't taught unless they actively go out and research this sort of thing. And if you own a business already, you know how important it is to look after yourself and your energy, and not just in one way, but in multiple ways. So there's never, when it comes to Valentine's Day, there's some critics out there and they're like, oh, it's all commercialized and blah, blah, blah. And they might be right, but at the same time, it's a principle of not just showing a loved one your love, but also yourself your love and your self-care. And I've been single for the last couple of years, and I've really enjoyed Valentine's Day because it's been a day that I can be very intentional, and I can spoil myself a little bit. I don't have to wait for a partner to do that. And it's the same thing when it comes to your business, right? So the principles of Valentine's Day not only need to be applied, or could be applied to your romantic lives, but also your intimate life with yourself. And the results of showing yourself, looking after yourself, basically being intentional and deliberate about that, not just on Valentine's Day, but throughout the year when you're running a business, is so, so crucial, especially when you are full-time running a side hustle on the side, right? You're trying to fit a lot into your schedule. So firstly, let's start. What is self-care? So self-care is actually taking care of yourself, obviously, like I've stated, but also honoring your body, your mind, and your spirit in a way that activates your best self. So what I mean by that is it's like making choices that improve your physical, mental, emotional, and whatever else aspect you can think of that moves you, like not only sustains you long term, but also moves you forward. It's a big energy thing, which I'll get back to in a sec. So aspects of self-care, as I said, can be related to lots of different areas. There's like professional, work, career, and business. There's physical, there's psychological, there's emotional, spiritual, and environmental. And I'll be covering most of these, if not all of them, in this episode today. So to me, self-care means filling up my own cup. It means investing in myself. It means looking inwards and going, what do I need right now? What does Olivia need right now? What is she feeling like she's lacking in? What is she available for in terms of more? Like what areas do I need more of to sustain myself in my business, right? Because when you're working a full-time business, you've got all of your energy and focus going into that for about 40 hours a week. And then when you run a side hustle, you've got all of your energy and time as well also focused onto that thing. And the two things can be very different. They can require different types of energies from us, masculine, feminine. The tasks can be different. The mindset can often be different as well. So it really is about valuing your energy, and also, more important than that, actually valuing yourself, because you are your greatest asset if you're a one-woman show at the beginning phases and it's all up and down to you, right? So if you're not looking after yourself, how long do you think the business will last for? If you run out of puff, who's going to come in and pick it up after you? No one, right? Not until you build, or if you're planning on building a very big company where you have, teams doing the work underneath that for you. So it's about creating something that's sustainable and long-term, because no one wants to create a business that flops in the first year, yeah? We want to create businesses that are going to be able to be set up, that we can grow and build and evolve and last. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Once I learnt these principles, I can tell you what, it revolutionized everything for me in business, 100%. So why is self-care important in business? So firstly, it's about your needs and prioritizing them and knowing your worth. Self-care is important to not only maintain a business, but maintain healthy relationships with yourself and others, because it produces good feelings and it boosts your confidence and your self-esteem, and that shows. Yeah, like it shows in your business, it reflects with your energy. And not only does it, fill up your cup or replenish you, it also elevates your vibration. And this is why energy is such a big thing when it comes to self-care, and we're going to dive into this. People can pick up on your energy. Yeah, so when you go and get fuel and you go inside to the fuel station and the dude's taking your credit card or your money, you can pick up on his energy straight away. When you get your groceries from the checkout chick, you can pick up on her energy straight away. And sometimes if we're not aware of this, their mood can impact our mood. I know back in the day, I used to go, some of these people would be miserable. Like at Macca's, McDonald's, you'd go through the drive-through for a coffee and you could tell who enjoyed their job and who didn't, who was happy and who wasn't. And so their energy can rub off on you and your energy can rub off on them. So it's being aware of that. Also, people are either attracted or repelled by your energy, and it affects connection not only with other people, but also with your audience, right? So the people that are following you on social media, your customers, your clients, your energy actually affects your productivity and your effectiveness in your business, which can affect sales. Like at the end of the day, it's a business, you want to make money. So it has a big flow-on effect. So energy is like a battery, it's full, and hopefully it's full at the start of the day if you've had a good night's sleep. And then as the day goes on, things start to not necessarily drain your energy, but they can, you give your energy and focus to things. And so by the end of the day, you get tired because you're a human. And so it's about being aware as well as to what actually fuels your energy and what drains your energy. And if you think about your energy as being like a cord, like I want you to visualize this at the moment, right? So you can close your eyes if you're not driving. I want you to imagine a cord like that's glowing from your belly button, right? And it's kind of like a cord that you plug your phone into. It's like a charger. So when we're in contact with people, we're connecting our cord with their cord. So it's about being aware of who's actually draining that energy and giving you energy, because you can actually unplug your cord and redirect your cord to other people or different people or people that are better to serve you and you to serve them. And this is something that I do with my clients as well. I actually talk about energy profiling. And once they get a better understanding of this, it makes their business actually a lot easier because they're able to manage their energy levels better through self-care. And if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur, stress and uncertainty are just like they're just aspects of business. They're givens. It's about how we handle those things in terms of in the face of uncertainty and whether we choose to be stressed about something or not. And this is something I'll go into at another time. But the thing is, with self-care, if we're looking after ourselves and, filling our cup up, it actually helps us to prevent burnout and therefore to prevent a failure of a business. So if you think of it like this, and I'll share my story in a minute as to how I did this, but basically if you're not having a day off and you're not prioritizing breaks and things that are filling up your cup and replenishing your energy and recharging your battery, eventually you're going to run out of puff. It's like a car. A car needs fuel to keep running. So if you're no longer filling up the tank, it's going to run out eventually and break down. And we're humans, so we're even more sensitive to that because we aren't machines, right? So that's what actually leads to failed businesses, because we put our all into our businesses. We want to make it work so desperately, and we want this and we want that, and then we just keep doing instead of just being and enjoying. And so what can tend to happen is that we run out of puff, and this is what leads to failed businesses. This is one aspect, right? This is the one of the triads of the main 3 things that I work with, which is mindset, energy, and strategy. So if you're not looking after your energy, you can't have, the business that you want really at the end of the day. And it's got to feel, when you're filling up your own cup and you're practicing self-care regularly, it actually makes the whole process feel worth it. So I remember the previous business that I had, I ran myself into the ground, and at the end of that, I was like, you know what? Screw this. This is so not worth it. I'm not doing this anymore. And so I chose a different option, and that's what made my business stop. Too much of anything is actually bad for us, right? Too much chocolate is bad for us. Too much, I've spoken to clients before where you might have someone that's extremely spiritual but actually isn't actioning the stuff that they're learning, right? Or you might have someone that's actioning too much and hasn't got enough of the spiritual aspect. And so if you have too much of one thing, it's actually making it more difficult for you in your business because your business needs both. Yeah, so too much of anything is bad for us. And you want a happy medium of giving yourself self-care and self-love and having time out, but then also showing up and building your business and doing the stuff that's going to progress your business forward. And, recognizing that you're actually capable of more than what you might even think you are. So a reminder is that your needs are very important, and it's not about and this is the thing, right? So if we don't prioritize our needs or recognize the need for self-care, it kind of shows up in different ways. So if we're not valuing ourselves and knowing our worth as a business owner, what can tend to happen is that we're giving away too much valuable free content, or we're doing too much pro bono work, or we're discounting our products too much and not being compensated what we're worth, right? You have more to give once you've given more to yourself. And this is why self-care is such a beautiful, energetic exchange. It's about working smarter and not harder. I know the old me had the mindset of, if I just do it, then I'll reap the reward. But as I've spoken about, if you're just doing all the time, not taking a day off, not taking breaks, not taking time to replenish your energy levels, and, really filling yourself up, you only have so much to give. So what does burnout look like in business? So burnout in business, what we're going to discuss here is not just what it is, but what it looks like, how it shows up in business, how to manage burnout, but more importantly, how to prevent it. So some signs of burnout are things like not enjoying your business or elements of your business that you previously enjoyed at the beginning, feeling overwhelmed and strained, getting snippy and impatient with others and your tolerance is starting to lower, feeling downhearted or like nothing that you're doing is working, and feeling that feeling of helplessness or pointlessness. You're like, nothing's working. You're getting really frustrated because you're not in a good energy. Feeling too exhausted to enjoy activities or, leisurable stuff outside of your work or your business. An increase in physical symptoms. So for example, not being able to sleep very well. A feeling of wanting to run away, give up, isolate yourself. The thing that we tend to do sometimes is skip breaks, meal breaks, because we think it takes up too much time when actually we really need that to replenish our energy stores. We can tend to struggle to switch off. So putting your mobile or your laptop away might be really hard because you feel this constant pressure of hustling and grinding and being on the go. This feeling of being unable to relax. This is another sign of burnout. Another sign of burnout is feeling unappreciative of things that have gone right in your business, or little wins along the way, such as signing a new client, making a sale, achieving a certain amount of downloads on your audiobook or your podcast, gaining a referral from someone, recognizing, opportunities that come your way. And instead you're actually feeling like an emptiness or like you're underachieving, even though you are getting these things. Or maybe you're so burnt out that these things, you're not actually receiving anymore because it's blocked. Other signs are feelings of being overworked, biting off more than you can chew, saying yes to things that perhaps you probably shouldn't have, not making goals or lists or plans and sticking to them, having negative thoughts about your business, feeling socially withdrawn, feeling like you can't perform as well because you're feeling tired, feeling drained. As I said, not sleeping well. And when we tend to switch between tasks a lot, this can actually be energetically draining to us because it's over chunking our brain, and our brain can only do 5 things at once maximum. So one thing I really learned that's really helped me in my business is focusing on one task at a time rather than juggling a shitload at once because it means that my focus is being interrupted and my ideas are disappearing because I haven't had that time or that space to allow that completion of that idea and then write it down or follow it up or action it. And you know what? If you live in westernized society, and I know that not everyone that listens to this podcast does, but the majority of you, from what I understand, do, and we live in a society that celebrates overworking, which can be really detrimental to our health and our mental health and the other aspects of our lives as well, because the whole hustle, grind mentality is like way over celebrated and glorified, and there has to be a balance of both. When we think about, when I think about other cultures, such as like, when people, I think it's, in the European and China cultures, they have like siestas in the afternoon, and they really celebrate relaxing and unwinding and connecting with others over drinks and all that sort of stuff. I think that's a really, it's a good thing to actually bring that into, your lifestyle, even in the westernized culture and society, because it gives you more balance. And it means that you're less likely to feel guilty to slow down and take time off when it's necessary. And so it's so important that we drop the guilt of filling up our own cups and practicing self-care in our lives. It is actually a necessary thing for longevity. So for me, you guys might already know my story, but I started a network marketing business about 4 years ago. And I absolutely loved it, but I burnt myself out. I literally was working, full time. I was working overtime as well and running a side hustle without stopping. So I was pretty much working 7 days a week, if not at least 6 at the very minimum. And in hindsight, I don't know how I did it for so long. I did it for like 12 months and then basically gave up because I had to choose myself over my business. And that'll always be the choice that I make. But I think at the time I didn't realize that you could actually implement both and have a better, things could work in harmony better. So the sort of things that I was doing was, going to work for 8.5 to 10 hours a day, coming home, cooking dinner, jumping on a Facebook Live, doing markets and parties, most weekends, doing charity events, posting online, making, actual videos, not just Facebook Lives, packing orders, driving down to the post office box and delivering them, feeling this incessant responsibility to answer messages as soon as I got them, rather than, prioritizing messages and maybe leaving them there for a bit and then getting around to them, that sort of thing. I found that I was getting sick a lot of the time, like catching common colds, feeling exhausted, just feeling really run down and finding it hard to say no to certain things or people. I just felt like I had to take everything on. And so that's a sign of being overworked. And if you don't know how to manage your energy, that's when things can really start to kind of crash into a heap. And as a full-time shift worker or a health professional, there's kind of like this underlying philosophy, I suppose, or idea or belief system that you have to be on constantly. And if you're tired, too bad, suck it up. We've all got to push through it. There's no excuses, if you had to do double shifts, you had to do double shifts. If you couldn't take a break, you couldn't take a break. It's just that kind of culture. And so I think I took that into business. And, when you're doing that, full time during the day or night or weekends, whatever it was that I was doing at the time, when you have that going on and then you have the same mindset for your business, what do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean? You're going to run yourself into the ground one day. And of course, that's where I started to lose motivation and everything started to unravel because, as I said, it didn't feel like it was worth it anymore. So if you're listening to this, something I want you to know is that it is 100% possible to have a full-time job and a side hustle and not burn yourself completely out. There is a happy medium that you can achieve, and there is a happy medium that is possible for you. It's just about being aware of it and then making self-care a priority as well. And it's kind of like the turtle and the hare story. Is that right? The hare and the turtle? That's right. Where you've got the hare that's like a bull out of a gate and then runs so quick and so fast and they tire out. But then you've got the turtle that's plodding along, slow and steady wins the race, and they do their thing and they get there. And so it's a bit like that with business. It's not a marathon. Do you know what I mean? It's not a race. It's a journey. And so it's okay to take some time out. And something that is really valuable is learning when your body is starting to get run down and feeling drained. Starting to recognize the signs of when your battery is starting to run out as well. And instead of just deciding to push through it and then end up in a worse place, it's about, I better actually rein this in. So I know that energetically tomorrow I can show up even better in my business, or this week I can do a better job in my business and be more productive and be more effective. So firstly, I guess you're probably wondering, well, how do you even practice self-care? Not everyone, practices this or even knows about it. So for me personally, I do it in 2 different ways. So I take 1 day off a week or a fortnight where I call it a blob day, blob, B-L-O-B, or a non-obligations day. And that's basically where I just quit adulting for the entire day. I don't worry about making meals unless I feel like it. I don't get back to messages. Like I basically take a day out of my business, a day out of work. Like obviously it's my day off already. And I just make sure that I don't feel pressured to do anything, because we live in a very busy culture. And so we deserve to have a day off once a week or once a fortnight or at least once a month, where we don't feel obliged to get back to people or please other people or meet this deadline or do that obligation. You're allowed to have a blob day. And for me, what does this look like? It's like sitting on the couch in my pajamas all day. It's using that meal that I meal prepped earlier on in the week and just, using that for dinner or to having takeout, right? Ordering a pizza to my door. It could be binging Netflix for that day. It could be taking a nap in the middle of the day, sleeping in, just taking my time, not feeling rushed, not feeling pressured, and just enjoying and being present and just being. The other sort of day that I have is usually like, once again, this particular second day can have two purposes. So this day can either be a celebration day where I celebrate the fact that I've gotten a new client, and it's a positive reward system that I do. So it integrates this whole, you've done something awesome and you should be happy and, celebrate this. And I do. And it actually reinforces the neurology in your brain that, this time and this effort and this focus that you're investing is paying off and it's worth it, and you get to smell the roses along the way. And so what that can tend to look like is, going to gold class, ordering a cocktail, ordering a cheese platter in that movie, really just spending the day by myself, taking myself out on a little date, getting a hot chocolate or a coffee or a massage or a mani-pedi or whatever I want, right? Like a facial, whatever. So it might sound a little bit counterproductive taking a day off, but it's actually quite the opposite. So if you imagine allowing yourself to just unwind, just to exhale and breathe, just to relax, just not to have to do anything, then the next day you're going to have so much more energy. Yeah. And so it really pays off. So it's not only taking these days to do these things, it's also implementing them into the daily or the weekly routine so they're not falling by the wayside or forgotten about. And as I've said before, like we get one life. And so why aren't we enjoying every day? We should be implementing self-care as much as we can. And for me, it looks like things like this, right? It's like having tea in the morning in a beautiful mug that I love. And maybe it's not just having a normal tea bag, maybe it's actually having whole leaf tea where it takes me a few more minutes to organize, but it tastes better. And I'm being very intentional and deliberate to actually elevate the experience and elevate my vibrations and treat myself, elevate my mood, and it feels a little bit glamorous. It could be having a bubble or relaxation bath, where you put essential oils in there or Epsom salts and light a candle, have a glass of red wine, sit back and relax, it can look like that, play a bit of music. It might be pet therapy. So for you, it might be taking your dog for a walk or playing with your cat or like snuggling your iguana, patting your pet snake, whatever it is, if you have a pet. Oh, actually talking of that, cats, I don't know if you guys know this, but cats, their purr has healing abilities, which is insane. Like I heard about that recently, like the frequency of which they purr has actually been shown to help the healing of like, I think it was like broken bones and wound healing, and I think it was tendon repair even. So there's some studies that actually show that having a cat and having it purr on you and snuggle up to you can help you heal quicker, which is pretty cool. The other thing I suggest is having maybe like a gratitude diary or a ritual where you're grateful at the end of the day. You might mention, and this is something that I used to do and I still try to do now is, well, not try, I actually do it. Maybe just not constantly every day, but as much as I can. And so I do have a gratitude diary where I write down 3 to 5 things that I'm thankful for every day. And it can be as little as like having running water or hot showers or a warm bed to crawl into at night or a roof over my head or being able to afford to pay for lunch that day. Like anything really basic is, it's something to be appreciated because a lot of countries and a lot of people don't actually have those sort of things available to them. So even being appreciative that you can drive a car to work or afford public transport or have clothes on your back is actually a big blessing, and you're already abundant if you have those things. Showing yourself appreciation and recognizing how far you've come is huge. So not only that, but appreciating where you are now, because this is a phase that you probably won't revisit. This is all building up to something grander. This is all building up to something bigger. And gratitude interrupts suffering. The other thing is boundaries. So boundaries is really important with self-care. So if you need to say no to people or things that, aren't aligned with your business or aren't a priority at that moment or that time, you can gently do that. You can gently say, you know what, I really appreciate this offer, but I can't really prioritize that right now, but come back to me in a couple of months, or that sort of thing. It could be setting a boundary as to not answering any messages after 8 o'clock at night, for example. It could be switching off social media for a couple of hours a day, or it could be, switching off social media when you have that blob day, which is what I do. I chuck my phone off and then I put it in the drawer beside my bed and I don't touch it until the end of the day if I have to set an alarm for the next day or something like that. But I keep it on airplane mode, so I'm not going to be tempted or distracted to check messages. Self-care can also look like taking yourself out for lunch. Be aware of the food and the fuel, like the food and the fluids that you're putting in your body, because it can fuel your body as well. So being aware of nutrition and what's going to serve your energy. Sometimes it might even be like, on my blob day, I might have a bit of a cheat day and eat a bit of chocolate and a bit of chips and a bit of lollies and not even feel bad about it, because it's like, it's my day off. I don't have to, show up as this, person that's got it together and is perfect all the time, And so by doing that, and then also exercising and moving your body in some capacity, it could be dancing, it could be yoga, going to the beach, it could be anything, right? Getting your body moving actually produces endorphins, and you can get an energy surge, and it also wakes your body up. And so when you're actually, moving and using motion, it creates better emotion. Self-care can also look like, using your sick leave if you need it. You hear about these people that have worked, 30, 40 years and have never used a sick day. And I just think, wow, how do you do that? Times are different, I must admit. But if you're needing to use your sick leave and you've got a lot of it there, why not use it if it means you're going to be more productive, and actually serve yourself long term, right? So if you need a sick day because you're just that drained or fatigued or exhausted, use that day to replenish your energy levels, and then the next day you can show up better at your day job, and then you can show up better in your business after work or before work or in your lunch break or whatever that looks like for you. I also recommend engaging in non-work or business-related hobbies and interests, because when you are working a full-time job or even a part-time job and you're side hustling, your whole world can kind of wrap around that, and it can kind of focus on all of that. So by, doing this on your days off, or showing yourself some self-care by doing, playing some cricket. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up now. But do you know what I mean? Like going and painting, or whatever it is that you like to do, like go to a museum or try a new activity or go to an escape room or something like that. Hanging out with a friend for brunch, whatever. Go roller skating beside the beach. I don't know, whatever floats your boat, girls. Whatever floats your boat. Just make sure that you're doing something like that that's actually making you whole in a different way. So what does self-care look like when you're running your business day? So let me share with you some little tips. So for me, when I'm not at work and it's not my day off and I'm in my business for the day, what I tend to do are these things. So one of them is actually structuring your day so that you get the most energy and productivity out of it. So for me, I'm at my peak when it comes to my energy levels in the mornings. So when I wake up, giving myself about a half an hour to an hour to fully wake up, in that period of time, I usually journal, I do EFT tapping, I do priming, meditation and gratitude, and then I have a healthy breakfast, and most of the time I'll go to the gym. But on the days that I don't, I will be utilizing that time in the morning to the best of my ability, because I know that I'm going to get way more productive stuff done, as opposed to like, I don't know, 6 o'clock at night, so to speak. So using your energy when you know it's going to be at its best is a really good little strategy you can use. Also, taking breaks during the day, granting yourself an extended lunch break if you need it, or watching a movie after lunch, just have some downtime and then get back up into things if, you need to that day or you want to. This is a benefit that you may not have at your day job, so why not utilize this in your business? So reading the 4-Hour Working Week was really beneficial in the way that, and I'm only halfway through it, I'm not fully done yet, but I really liked the way that they described how to time chunk when you would get back to people like clients, customers, your team, your staff or whatever. It was like allocating certain times during the day that you would check your email and then you wouldn't check it again, or you'd only have certain allocated time slots during the day where you would do that, so you're not breaking up your focus too much and using up too much energy. And I really liked that. And they actually provided some like language scripts that you could use. Some of them looked and sounded a little bit too harsh for my liking, but I really liked the principle of that, and I'm just adapting it in my own way, which you can do as well. Another little strategy is actually, at the end of the day, if you like to have showers of a nighttime, once you've finished all your work stuff or your business stuff, hopping into the shower, putting on some relaxing music like meditation or, Pilates or yoga music, and then visualizing the water washing everything off you and just shutting your brain down and not having to think about the things for the next day or what should be done or what didn't get done today, but actually just allowing it to wash off you, and then you can just melt into bed. And also setting yourself up for a good night's sleep is really good too. So for example, if you've got a diffuser, you can use your oils. I take a calming supplement at the end of the day with an immune supplement too, so to support my immune system. I try not to eat before bed, so I haven't got sugar in my system keeping me awake. And also watching something lighthearted or funny to help me unwind at the end of the day is something that really is beneficial. So things like, Friends or The Big Bang Theory or Grace and Frankie, nothing too heavy, nothing that's going to sit in my subconscious mind and give me nightmares or night terrors or muck up with my sleep, because non-REM, which is non-rapid eye movement, is really good sleep, and that's what you get before midnight. So I don't know if you're a night owl or a morning person, but for me, I know that if I get more hours in before midnight, I always feel better because I get a deeper sleep. And I actually track that with my Fitbit. So if you've got a Fitbit, maybe start activating that because it's really handy. If you're a shift worker like myself, maximizing your body clock as to the best of your ability is really helpful too. So for example, going to the gym in the morning is great. It sets you up, it produces more endorphins, you've got more energy, and then you can carry out the rest of your day. If you're going to night shift, go to the gym before night shift, wake your body up, get that whole, body clock happening for night shift. And then at the end of your night shifts, the day that you walk out of the hospital or wherever it is that you're working, make sure that you go home, go to sleep for a couple of hours, like maybe 4, and then wake yourself up early so that it feels like you've started a new day, even though you haven't. So that the next day, your body clock is basically on point, ready to start the week as per usual again. And if you're struggling to get everything done, just say you're getting busier and busier and busier and you're like, how do I even squeeze all of this in? Maybe consider outsourcing to someone else. So for me, when I was working full-time and side hustling, the money that I was making, I really could have actually paid someone to do some stuff for me, but I'd never really thought it was possible or didn't think it was ready, that sort of thing. And even if you're part-time in your business, utilizing your time to the best of your ability is going to be really helpful too, because it's you can pass off the activities that you don't necessarily need to do, that you can pay someone else to do. And that allows you more time to attract clients and customers, which is only going to bring in more income. So for example, I now have a podcast manager who does most of the back end of the stuff for me. I get to do the fun creative stuff. I get to, write a few notes or dot points or themes, pop onto the podcast, press record, have a ball doing this, and then handing the reins over to her. Or for example, I have a graphics designer now that I use. So instead of me creating all the audiograms to promote on social media, she does all that for me for a little cost, and it's worth it for me because it means I have more time to, connect with my audience and, attract more clients and customers and that sort of thing. And I know someone in the network marketing world who did this. She outsourced a lot of stuff. She actually got her husband to start packing orders and delivering them. And that meant that they could actually have 2 days off a week together with the family instead of just one, because she wasn't doing it all herself. He was actually helping her out. And, in a beautiful way, she was actually able to retire her husband, and now they run the business together, which I think is really beautiful. So what parts of your business do you think you can outsource? When can you start implementing more self-care into your lifestyle and your business, right? So how can you do it on a daily basis? How can you do it on a weekly basis? When can you start having a blob day? When can you start celebrating all these little wins along the way? How can you start taking care of yourself better and start showing up for yourself with self-love? What activities take away your energy or leave you feeling tired or off or tilted or drained or low vibe? And what activities add to your energy or energize you? What gives you energy? And who helps you to feel more energized in their presence and after you leave them? Because we all have experienced someone where we haven't enjoyed the interaction, we've walked away feeling more drained as opposed to more happy or more high vibe or more excited. So feel free to share your answers with me. I want to hear them. Message me on Instagram, send me a message on Facebook, share them in the Facebook group. We're all in this together. So I'd love to hear your stories. And a quote that I particularly love is by Bill Gates. And he says, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And the reason why I really like this is because I was one of those people that used to overestimate what I could do in 12 months. And I, as I said, go at it like a bull out of a gate, all or nothing, bite off more than I can chew, and then burn myself out and never get there and never make the result that I wanted or never get to the other side because I never stopped. And so this is a classic example of utilizing your time and your energy to the best of your ability so that it can be stretched out and you can actually use that and keep going and keep progressing for 10 years and actually achieve more than what you thought you could achieve in 12 months. So I trust that's been helpful, guys. Thank you for listening. And as I said, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, bye. Thank you so much for tuning in and for spending this beautiful time together on the Slaying Your Side Hustle podcast. I am so glad that you stopped by, and if you want to stop by again, then hit the subscribe button for future episodes. For more beyond this podcast, you can email me at oliviapowcoaching@gmail.com, or you can even send me a Facebook DM telling me what you thought and what you'd like to hear more of. Feel free to hang out with me on Instagram, tag me, or share my stuff on your stories, whatever you like. If you could just take 1 second to share this episode with someone who would love it, then that would truly be amazing, and this would continue to contribute to the greater good by spreading the love to thousands and thousands of like-minded entrepreneurial and business women around the globe. Isn't that a cool thought? I think so too. See you in the next episode.